Smooth 98.1. Here we are, going past 6:30 on a Thursday morning, and Rotus is excited about what is going on in Kenya. Rotus, I know you are. Welcome to the show.
I am, because there's lessons for us here in Nigeria. Big
Yes,
lesson.
Right.
First day,
Yeah.
William Ruto has done things, removed subsidies. Rotus is, well, apart from inflation, I think subsidy is your second most hated word at this point.
Yeah.
What we can
Somebody
tell
needs to
before.
appoint me in government as a subsidy advisor. That's
We
how
don't want to. A lot of people I've heard you may just be like, no, Rotus, no.
But you just might get appointed in 2023.
You know, I feel like Rotus would just come and be like, okay, no subsidy from today, from this second. Yeah.
So sometimes, right, they could just give you that appointment to set you up. You've spoken so much about subsidy. Come on board. Let's see what you
exactly.
can do.
Let's keep him quiet.
Okay, so people, we're already streaming live up on youtube.com/smooth981 FM in Lagos. Make sure you join the conversation by leaving your comments up on the live stream. You can also send WhatsApp messages into 0809 444 0981 or take it to Twitter. We are at Smooth981 FM. Tag us in your tweets. Okay, so let's get straight into it.
Well, you've heard about it already, looking at Ruto planning to drop fuel subsidy. I would also see if we can talk about Peter Obi's LCCI economic address, which was moved to Monday. In fact, I hear those on the Tinubu side are saying, why haven't we been invited yet? You are biased. And the federal government is also saying Port Harcourt refinery will resume production December. Let's see if we can talk about all this. Rotus,
Let's jump into it. I have some specific quotes here from William Ruto's presidential address. I think this was either yesterday or Tuesday. And I forwarded it to you. Actually, do you guys want to read it, or should I read it? Should I read it?
Okay, sure. I'll read it. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, on fuel subsidy alone, the taxpayers have spent a total of 144 billion Kenyan shillings, a whopping 60 billion in the last 4 months. If the subsidy continues to the end of the financial year, it will cost the taxpayer 280 billion, equivalent to the entire national government development budget. That's what William Ruto, the new president of Kenya, has to say. He went on to say, in addition to being very costly, consumption subsidy interventions are prone to abuse. They distort markets and create uncertainty, including artificial shortages of the very products being subsidized. The cost of living challenges are related to production. Our strategy to bring down the cost of living is predicated on empowering producers. Our priority intervention, therefore, is to make fertilizer, good quality seeds, and other agricultural inputs affordable and available. Oh my God, is he speaking to us?
Right. Thank you.
Directly to us.
So, look, listen, this thing is not, it just tells you priorities, right? For a new leader, he's coming in and saying, look, this thing is too expensive. And we could be using this money for our development budget, which can go to other items, right? He then makes the second point, the second quote Sope read, that this thing distorts markets and there's no transparency. It is prone to corruption, right? And then finally says
shortages.
Yeah, exactly. And shortages. I mean, look at all the stuff that we've been through, so and they've already what is it now? Energy EPRA, I'm not remember what it's called. Their energy production or facility or body has put out a notice already telling people what this fuel is going to cost between the month of, I think it's from September through, it takes effect October 1st or so. I have to look for the notice that they sent out. But basically, they are essentially already putting it out there that, look, this is what it's going to cost. And essentially, they even put the landing cost there so that the average Kenyan will know how much fuel costs when it gets to their shores and then what it costs for them. So very transparent. They've let them know. And then that's it. Now, for the cost of living, the last quotes that Sope read, he said, look, I understand that fuel prices have gone up and things are tough. So it sounds like they will still subsidize farm inputs and fertilizers. So that subsidy is going to remain. But he wants to empower producers by reducing their costs of inputs in order to produce the food that the average Kenyan eats. So if you subsidize their inputs, you make it less costly for them when they acquire fertilizers or acquire whatever it is they use to produce food, which hopefully will increase supply of food. And if economics, the relationship, if you increase supply, then prices come down. I saw this and I had to highlight this because I just think that if you look at the parallels between us and Kenya, they are there and there's something to be learned, right? And leadership, unfortunately, here still believes that fuel subsidies are protecting the poorest Nigerians. But if you look at cost, we're getting inflation figures on Thursday. In fact, it's still not Thursday. Yeah, today we're getting inflation figures. Yes, today is the 15th. Right. We should be getting Nigeria's inflation figures by 12 noon or 1 p.m. today. And Ghana yesterday, do you know what Ghana's inflation is? 33.9%. Right? Yeah, that's 33. So it's spiking there. I'm expecting us to cross about 19.6, should cross to 20 something by the time we get those figures. So what do you do to try to cushion the impact of food prices continuing to go up? Kenya says that they have to empower producers. We've tried to do the same thing here, but I think the insecurity matters that affect farmers being able to go to their farms. I think that's still an issue for Nigeria. But the main takeaway is that, look, a new president came in. He immediately told everybody in his address that these fuel subsidies are not sustainable and I have to remove them. That there's no deep analysis here. It's that straightforward. It really is. It really is.
Let's see what the effects will be, because one of the conversations around us removing fuel subsidy has been, does it need to be like rip off the band-aid or should it be a gradual thing? So he's ripped off the bandage. I'm not sure just how intertwined fuel subsidy has become with daily life for the Kenyans, but I know for Nigerians, everything is intertwined with that thing. Everything. Yeah. So
it's similar.
Would we be able to withstand a move like that here in Nigeria? Just first day.
Yeah, I know. Well, when you delay and delay and delay and delay and delay, you get to a point where your back is against the wall and you have no choice but to rip off the band-aid. Now, they can still try to, I think whoever comes into office may want to do it gradually in phases. So I think we're at 170 now. We were paying 165 for it now. I think some places are paying 185, some maybe even 200. They might move it up to maybe 250, 300, and then gradually. So I think a gradual approach is what they'll do, because if you rip it off, prices of everything will just skyrocket. So I think if they make that move, that they will remove it gradually. But with where our finances are right now, Shokwe and
can we even afford to remove it gradually with the way our financials is set up?
So that's exactly. So we may not be, right? If you look at the projections that they are making for next year in terms of what the budget deficit is going to be, I think it's 11 trillion. Almost half of that is going to fuel subsidies. About 6 trillion is what's going to be
6.72, I think.
Yeah, it's so large. So.
Well, Timothy Silva, Minister of State's Petroleum, is saying by December this year, the Port Harcourt refinery should be producing, should resume production. Do you think this will help in any way?
Well, in terms of supply, because I think they said the capacity is about 60,000 barrels per day. So, in terms of supply, that will help as far as just making sure there's no more shortages. Because remember, we don't refine our own fuel here. We have to import it from overseas. There's a high FX cost with that. So if Port Harcourt refinery comes on stream, again, it's 60,000 barrels. That's really not a lot, but at least it will help with supply. We're all here. I know you said it. We'll all be here, knock on wood, by December. We'll see what happens. They've been talking about this thing now for how long? So we'll all see whether it comes on stream or not.
All right, let me just read Matthew's message. Matthew Afolabi coming in saying, what's the essence of the subsidy when the bulk of the family bread is always smuggled by some corrupt elements to the neighborhood? Well, okay.
Right. That is a good question, because they are selling it. So imagine you're subsidizing something and it costs 5 naira, but in Cameroon, they're not subsidizing it and it costs 10 naira. So somebody will steal it from here at 5 naira and go and sell it at 10 naira in Cameroon. And that's why you're seeing so much smuggling taking place.
7.5 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take another message.
Ogenachuku is saying, that is a man with a will to do the needful in Nigeria. Trust is an issue. The question is, what will the government be doing with the fund when they remove the subsidy?
That is something that continually is asked by a lot of Nigerians because of the low trust factor. But, I think you have to, Cheta has been saying this thing for a while, that if you increase taxes in Nigeria and you increase, it will make people government more accountable. So maybe we should try that experiment and see what happens. Because at this point we're out of options.
I do believe that taxes give people, the ordinary citizen, a real incentive to put a magnifying glass to what the government is doing, because it's your money they're using to do this, and hence why I don't mind that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Bolu says the cost of food in Nigeria is a funny one. The farmers are not the problem, but two things are: insecurity and the middlemen. I know a full-time onion seller or distributor who doesn't have one onion farm. He buys these onions from around from the farmers, then he fixes the price. My father-in-law has a cocoa farm, but he belongs to this cult-like group that forces them to sell to some set of rogues who then fix the price.
That's a good point from Yinka there. Good point. So that needs to be addressed.
Musa is also in. He says, just as the current Kenya president eased out fuel subsidy, I am not against Nigeria doing the same. My worry is, will the average Nigerian citizen feel this measure? Since 1986, petrol subsidy removal and its reintroduction has been Nigeria's economic nickname.
That's a great point. Again, you're saying the same theme. What will they use the money for?
So Baba Femi has a question for you, Rotus. It says, why do you always advocate for the removal of subsidy? Does the government show any integrity in making good use of the savings? We're ready to pay commercial rate for locally refined fuel and not imported fuel with an imported cost.
Yeah, I mean, I continue to say, because the money can be used for other things. You can build hospitals, you can get computers, laptops in public schools, you can solve the ASU strike with this. You can do so much with all that money that people can feel if they spend it well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Interjection. First of all, that's a huge if. Gigantic, enormous, almost world, gravity-defying if, because and it goes back to this issue of mistrust. People have seen what they've been doing with the fuel subsidy, and we already know that fuel subsidy is spelled CORRUPTION.
Right.
So what is to stop that same corruption going to all the different social welfare programs that are going to come out? Because we've also seen social welfare programs that's
have not right.
A few people some great welfare and not a lot of people.
Exactly. Look, at this point, well, I mean, we got to go one way or the other, right? We either keep it and go broke, or we remove it and just hope for the best. Something has to give.
Yeah, hope for the best.
Now, right before we wrap things up, Pepple keeps getting a shift in dates. If it's not abroad, here in Nigeria as well, LCCI has moved his supposed, interview or chit chats to Monday the 19th.
Yes, remember I said, I'm glad this update. I had to include this update because remember yesterday, it was Atiku, or day before yesterday, Atiku had his day there and Obi was supposed to be the next day and Obi's was postponed. So I think the Obi team wanted to allow Atiku have the news cycle for a stretch of time so they could have their own say. I don't know, but he's now for next week, Monday. Tinubu's camp, I hear, is the October the 28th. That's really way down. So
and they've been protesting against it. They said, what is going on? We want to, get involved now that everyone's talking about Atiku's plans, and Obi will be spoken about next week. Should he have this discussion with LCCI?
Yeah, what I hear is that it was the Tinubu camp that gave that date. He said that this week was not clashing with his schedule, and so it was that time that was going to work. That's what I heard. So we'll see. So like we did with Atiku, we'll get into Obi's plans for the nation economically Tuesday morning. So we'll see what he has for us on Monday.
All right.
Okay, and that is that for this edition of Business Express, brought to you by Stanbic IBTC. Rotus, tomorrow is Tech Friday, and we didn't get too much time to discuss some big news on the crypto scene, which is Ethereum and the merge. Are we going to be talking about that?
Yeah, we'll touch. And then WhatsApp is doing a movie. It's really crazy. They're funding it. I'll get into that tomorrow on
I'm interested.
Yeah, Giannis Atek, I can't pronounce his last name.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. So I saw a trailer on it. I'll send the trailer to you.
That's interesting stuff. Okay, cool. Looking forward to Tech Friday tomorrow, 6:30, people. Every single day here on Smooth Breakfast. You find at Rotanco, not just on Twitter, but here on Business Express, and then at 5:15 on all the other shows like Business Talk and Marketplace. I can go on, but I don't have any breath. Rotus, fantastic. See you tomorrow.
All right, see you. Thanks.
We cannot take them because we're out of time. Let's do this again tomorrow at 6:30.
Beyond the headlines.